Hi guys, I know it's getting little too much for all of us with being stuck at home, and nothing seems to be getting easy for next couple of weeks as government also extended the official lockdown further. So we got two choices now. The number one is that we get crazy over the situation and make it worse without frustration. And second one is that we consciously choose to invest this time into something worthwhile so that after a year or two when we look back we feel thank God the lockdown happened. In this video, I'll share the list of 5 books that can transform your life and can put you on the path of success in your career as well, if you indulge into reading them or listening to their audio versions, whichever is available with you. And the fifth book on the list is specifically for my female viewers. Now this list is not very exhaustive, but I'll say something worth to begin with. Let's get started. Welcome to Corporate Diaries. Welcome back guys. So before I jump onto the list, I want to mention a very important thing here. Whenever you decide to read a book, never do the mistake of taking the summary of that book or getting a shortcut summary from a friend or from online resources. It's better to not to read then. If that is the case, if you are shortfall of time or you just don't have interest to read and you just want to take summary of that book, it doesn't work that way. Please don't do that. It's similar like you want to watch a movie, your friend saw it before you, so you went to him and asked about the story, or you search the story online. Obviously you'll get the story, you'll get the gist of the movie, but do you think you'll get the same value as the director intend to portray with his whole movie? First of all, those 3 hours is itself is a very limited projection of what director wants to say with that story. That 3 hours further squeezed down to 3 minutes that you got from your friend or online gets you nowhere. And especially when it comes to these books, every written word there is a step into a journey. It's very important. Learn to indulge yourself into the entire journey, into its wholeness, rather than taking shortcuts. There is only one situation under which it is justifiable that you take the summary of the book or just read it or listen it in shortcuts, and I'll tell you about that situation also in the end of this video. Apart from that, please never take shortcuts in reading the book. Also, these books are not your textbooks, so there is no deadline or timeline by when you should finish them. You can read them on your own speed, in your own comfort zone. So make sure whenever you read them or you listen to them, you do that in full. Never take shortcuts. So that being said, let's get started with the list. This list is very personal opinion. There are tons of books out there. You can choose to read whatever resonates with you, but these are the books that brought so much value in my life, in my perception, so I'm sharing the same with you. First one on the list has to be Rich Dad or Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Now this one, guys, needs no introduction. This is a pretty popular book and I'm sure you must have come across this book. I feel every one of us should read this book at least once, because majority of us have been conditioned with a very limited perception about success and money, either by our parents or by the society around us. We all take the same path towards the success. We study, we land in job, we start earning, and then we pay EMIs. Sounds familiar, right? And even after studying so hard for several years, we don't live the life that we deserve. And the average money that we end up earning, guys, we know that much amount can be earned without degree as well. You don't need high-end degrees to earn that amount. I'm sure you all will agree with that. So this is a book that will change your perception, the way you understand money and finance. No matter how great CA you are or a finance graduate, it will change the way you have understood your assets and your liabilities so far. It will tell you why so many of us, even after earning a good salary, live a very average life, and we all are stuck with paying EMIs or debt our whole life. It will change the way you perceive investment or you do your investment. The book breaks down the principles with the help of which you can achieve financial freedom, and I think that is something as a generation we all should strive for. When I first came across this book, I was like, this is another boring finance book, so my mind just tuned itself off it, because since school numbers are something that could never get my interest. It's not that I don't understand it, it's just that I don't choose to, because it's too boring for me. I think I'm more of a aesthetic and management person. I don't know, I feel so. So I left the whole finance part to my CFOs and I only got to do the good stuff. But later I ended up reading it because of so many recommendations from my co-workers, from my friends, and I'm glad I made the decision, because guys, it's not another boring finance book. It's really interesting and fun read. It is described with the help of a story which is very interesting to hear. And especially my viewers who are in their college, please do read it before you graduate, because it will set you right for the market. As soon as you start earning, you will know what you wish to do with that money. You will know where to invest. And if you delay it, and if you feel that this is something you should read later in your life, then you will regret, and like many others you will feel, oh, how I wish somebody would have told me about this book earlier. So here I am, I'm telling you to read it, so grab your copy now. Second on the list is Atomic Habit by James Clear. Now this is a very powerful book, guys. This book describes how small changes can really transform your life. Now we all, including me, we tend to fall prey to this mentality where we assume that big things which can change our life are not doable. Either it's out of reach, or it's expensive, or it's out of comfort zone. And when somebody suggests us a small change that can change our life, which is within reach, which is not very expensive, which will not cost us much time and energy, then we are like, oh, that's really small and insignificant to change anything, to bring any change in our life. So practically we are saying the big things we cannot do and the small things we don't want to do. So how will we grow then? We have to start somewhere, right? Honestly, we all know what's good for us, what's not. What we really struggle is how to bring that habits into our day-to-day life. So Atomic Habit is a powerful book that gives you techniques that you can put to use and bring those habits into your life, with which you can transform your life for good. Now my third and fourth mention are pretty much in the same category. One is related to sales and another one is related to negotiation, but I would urge to read both of them because they both cater to a very different perspective. So read or listen to both of them. So the third one is To Sell is Human by Daniel Pink. If you think that sales is something which is done by sales or marketing people, then it's time to wake up, guys. Because sales is something that we all as a human being, we do our entire life, right from our childhood to the time we die. We do it all the time, sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously. Whether you are giving interview, or you are trying to impress upon your girlfriend, boyfriend, or you are trying to make an impression on your boss, or you are trying to make your voice heard in a networking event or a seminar, or you are trying to impress upon a relative, you are trying to engage into fruitful conversation with your relatives, or you are just trying to come across as a very cool person in your friends, in your gang, or simply you are trying to convince your parents for letting you pursue the career that you love. In all these scenarios, what you are basically doing is sales. The sooner you realize this, better your life will be. This book tells you all that from a very fresh perspective, and after reading it, you will come to this bizarre realization that we all live in a world where it's all about sales. We all are in sales regardless of our professions. Even the social media that we are doing is sales. So the author here really gives you powerful tools and techniques with which you can learn to convince others, persuade others, and can mark your influence on them. So it's a very good read, and it will set you up in your career as well, especially in corporate. And my fourth mention is never split the difference, negotiate it as your life depends on it, by Chris. The author of this book, guys, is a FBI hostage negotiator. So you can really swear by the techniques and tools that he gives you in this book, because they are really tried and tested in the field. What I love most about this book is that it is not that fluffy self-help book which just gives you a wordy gyan, but this is the book that gives you tangible tools and techniques which you can use in your day-to-day experience in life. And it's not only limited to negotiation that you do in your interviews or in your salary. There's so much more when it comes to negotiation in our day-to-day life, and the author has covered it all. It sounds really boring by the title and the look of the book. I agree, at least I felt so when I saw it for the first time, but it's a really fun read, guys. It's not at all boring. These two books, third and fourth, are really important for people who are corporate aspirants or already are working in corporates, because it will set you up, it will level up your game in corporate. So moving on to my last mention, and this is, as I said earlier, is specifically for my female viewers, and it is Girl Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis. Now this book has a very interesting concept. It is divided into different chapters, and each chapter tells about a lie or a limiting belief which we as a female, we assume about ourselves, or we put those limiting beliefs on ourselves. It's not something we are born with, but we pick those beliefs as we grow in our life, either by looking at people in our society, or we have been conditioned to believe that way about ourselves. Example being good at managing home, being good at managing kids, being a super mom, looking a certain way all the time. So I don't want to spoil the read for you, so I'll not mention the important stuff of the book. So go ahead yourself and figure out what actually it is. Though anyone can read the book regardless of the gender, but I feel females will relate more to the book because it's written keeping them into mind. The author is a female, and she has shared how she was imposing those limiting beliefs on herself and how it was impacting her life, the quality of her life, and what helped her to overcome these limiting beliefs about herself. Honestly, I'll not say this is the best book out there to read on this context, but it is a very light book to start with, to get into habit of reading. So you can start with this, and I'll share more deeper books on this subject later. Now it's time to share the only situation under which it's justifiable to read the summary or listen the book in shortcuts, and that only situation is when you are visiting a very important seminar or a networking event, or you are making appearances into meetings which have very key resources. You think your further experience or career depends on those meetings, very important social gatherings, and you know there are certain books that have come into market which those people read through and will be talked about in these events. Only in those cases, because you don't have time to read through all of those books and you were not earlier prepared for those meetings, or you were not aware that they will be held. So only under those circumstances it's okay to read the summary of the book or listen to the summary of the book. In fact, it's mandatory that you take summary of those books. It's better than you go without reading or taking the summary of the book, because then you'll feel left out. You will not have context to talk about. That's all for today, guys. I hope I brought some value to your time. I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe and happy. Take care. Bye.